The average time from nomination to confirmation of President Obama's nominees is within a week of the average time from nomination to confirmation of Bush nominees. The process is working okay here. What is happening? I'm telling you, I know what's happening. This Democratic leadership in the Senate, and make no mistake, they control this body, have been trying to create a perception that there's an obstruction going on, and they're going to pretend that these 17 judges who are coming up for their routine time to be confirmed are being blocked, and this is part of an obstructive tactic. And it's not accurate and it's not correct. They've been moving at the regular pace. It's a stunt to create an impression politically. What ought to be done in the Senate? We need to be working on things that are important. They don't want to talk about the things that are needed for this country. One of them is a budget. It's been over 1,000 days since this Congress has passed a budget. Why aren't we spending time on that? Senator Reid said it's foolish to pass a budget. It's not foolish to pass a budget. It's necessary to pass a budget. This country has never needed a budget more than it needs it today. Never. We are heading to financial catastrophe. But Senator Reid didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want his members to have votes. And if you bring up a budget, members get to vote. They get to offer amendments. They'll talk about the debt course of America, which is on an unsustainable path. Everybody says that. Why aren't we talking about that? We now will have finally, after 3 weeks, votes today maybe to pass the highway bill. Well, why did it take 3 weeks? We went about 2 weeks without anything. We've had votes now all of a sudden at the end, about 2 days worth of votes, and the bill will be up for final passage. Why wasn't that done 3 weeks ago? Because Senator Reid obstructed the ability of senators to offer amendments. And he tried to move this bill forward without amendments, except the ones he picked, and that's not right. The majority leader does not get to pick amendments or how many that should occur to legislation in the greatest deliberative body in the history of the world, the United States Senate. He does not have that power. So he tried to move the bill forward, and the Republicans said, no, we will not move to final vote until you agree amendments. Now he's agreed to 20 or 30 amendments. In about 2 days' time, will have all been voted on. Some of them went away before voting, and the bill will come up for final passage. Why didn't it happen earlier? And what else should we be talking about? We should be working to have more affordable American energy. We don't need a Secretary of Energy. I've taken to calling it the Department of Anti-Energy. That says in 2008 he wants to see the price of energy go up. He was asked, I think yesterday in the committee, do you still believe that? Well, no, I've changed my mind since 2008. Can you imagine the Secretary of Energy fundamentally having as his guiding principle that he wants to raise the price of energy? And the president said it himself before he was elected. This is a radical idea driven by extremists who don't understand that the cost of energy hammers American people. And when businesses look for a place to build a plant, they consider the whole world. And if our energy prices are lower and reliable, then they can afford to invest here, hire American workers. But if our energy prices are too high, and I can cite you examples of investments in my state of Alabama that were determined one way or the other based on energy prices. If the price of energy is too high, they go somewhere else. They can't afford it. They have to seek the lowest price. That creates jobs and growth. We need to have an energy secretary who understands his job is to protect the health and safety of America and produce as much American energy as we can at the lowest possible price, and not to be engaged in some social engineering. And I got to tell you, it troubles me that the Secretary of Energy doesn't even own a car. He rides a bicycle. I mean, this is what we've got running this country. It's a kind of idea that's not realistic for the average American citizen. The average guy, after he pays his rent, his house payment, his health care, his food, and he has to pay $100 more a month, $150 more a month for the same amount of gasoline he got, the small business paying more. You tell me that doesn't hurt this economy. You tell me that doesn't raise unemployment. It absolutely does. And it's stupid. We do not need to be doing things that don't make sense. We cannot afford it. And this Senate needs to be focused on that, not some unprecedented, unheard of, gimmicked up complaint that we're going to now have 17 cloture votes on judges, many of which have been on the Senate floor less than a month. And we have this major problem with governmental regulations. I'm hearing it everywhere I go, from farmers who are being told that they're going to have to not have dust on the farm. And when asked by Senator Roberts, one of the Department of EPA people, how are we going to keep dust down? They said, well, you can have a water truck and go by and water it. Now, how silly is that? They've got work rules that keep families, children from helping out on the farm. They've got rules dealing with a ditch, calling it a navigable stream. This is regulatory overreach of a monumental degree, and I'm hearing it from business, I'm hearing it from taxpayers, I'm hearing it from farmers all over. If it's the kind of regulation that doesn't produce a benefit, but adds to the cost of doing business, cost that add up to the average American consumer, then it needs to be eliminated. It would help create jobs and help make us more productive. But what's happening is this Senate is obstructing legislation that's coming out of the House that would fix energy, that has tax reform, small business growth proposals that are on the floor now. They're not even being brought up. They're being obstructed by Senator Reid and the Democrats. That's a fact.